Welcome, one and all, to another amazing episode of Gem Collectors with Shawn. 7 years strong we have been going. I have been doing this, bringing you this amazing show, but prior to that, 9 years at Gem Shopping Network and doing the live show, Mondays, 3 a.m. to 9 a.m. The Raven and I, that was our slot, and, brought so many wonderful items. And now we've been able to focus even a little bit more on the mineral specimens, even though if you ever see jewelry in this show, you know it's going to be an amazing opportunity for you. Pieces have been coming back as people get older, so these estates have been coming back, and some people with some of the largest collections of custom pieces that I've made for the particular family or client. And so it's always wonderful because I don't have the time or really the gumption to put that much effort into custom pieces anymore, even though I certainly enjoy doing that. So it's really neat to get a made by Shawn piece that comes back around without having to make a new one like that. But you're going to see some exciting things. There are some amazing things in this show, and there is some amazing things going on with the family that watches, the Gem Collectors with Shawn family. And there's something really special going on right now between Brad and Penny. So just to refresh those of you who may not have seen the other week's show, Penny had said that she wished she had 2 Koroi opals, one so she could give somebody one that wouldn't be able to have one, and then another better one for herself. Well, there happened to be a parcel I made up, and she was, I don't know if Penny was looking for like one of the $8 ones that I actually had that was bought out. So she had actually tried twice prior to get a Koroi opal and missed out both times. So, not asking for anything, but just making that comment, I looked at what I had, and I had one larger triangular piece that I showed last weekend, and Brad, having, I guess, heard Penny's situation, and he actually sent back that parcel of 2 stones. And I know Brad knows. Brad's a sharp and shrewd buyer, extremely knowledgeable, and he realized the value in the 2. So if Brad plunks down some money, he's getting value, as in anything that you buy. But some things harder to get, more particular, like the Koroi opal opportunity, where it was the only, out of all the Koroi opals, the only one I made up where I had 2 stones in one parcel, and kind of aiming it for Penny if it worked out. In the end, it did work out, and it took some special open hearts, and Brad sent back that parcel. And so Miss Penny, customer service, Miss Penny not knowing what was going on behind the scenes, well, she's going to address that in her message to you today. I also have some pieces that are really special, and I told you as time goes on, we're going to get a little deeper into Shawn's collection. Now, you're not going to see pieces like Miss Gabby's rocket pocket tourmalines. Those kind of level of quality and value have always been out of my price range. For the same amount, I can get lots of other goodies. My heart, if I had the pocketbook, would certainly be in that range and have some of those kind of specimens. But the fun of getting a quarter for a nickel is a blast at any level. Everybody wants to get something at a good deal. And so Miss Gabby, Miss Barbara, Mr. Brad, and onwards have realized in this show that it is truly the case where you can get an $1,000 specimen for $200, and specimens you may not even see, like the turgite. That was just an oldie but goodie, and what a rare piece that was. It gave a new meaning to Goethite, with that. So that just came to mind randomly, as so many others have. You're going to see some great stuff today. You're going to see some great stuff. And there's some really neat stories to go along with it. So let's get started on the comments. There's not that many. We do have a winner, but if all of you keep opting out, it's going to make a couple of people get them up every week. So and all of you that are, it is no effort, but takes only a moment for you to send a comment in right there in the same area that you can click on and watch the show from the Gem Shopping Network's website, gemshopping.com. And at the bottom of the home page, you'll see where it says Watch Shawn. You can click that and it'll take you to also the 30 episodes of how it's done. If you ever wanted to know or learn on how a bench project is done, whether it be setting or restoring mill grain on a platinum piece, or flush setting, or some of the most difficult and technical work. It was a year-long project where Asif was the, fortunate for me, the cameraman. I have an office here. We closed the door off to the world, and he would direct and produce the show, and I hosted it and was the goldsmith, where I would have been a run-on mess if it wasn't for Asif. And I realize now it gave a new importance to actually a director's role, and that is managing the quote hosts or the actors, because if not, we'll get way off track. So they really, and then edited. Great editing. When I start watching them, I like to watch my own shows, and normally I don't like to even watch or hear myself, but when it's talking about bench work, it's like, really? Is that how you do something? It was that engrossing, and a lot of it has to do with the editing of it. So to keep you enthralled. So check those out. And Barbara made a neat comment. So when I read that to you, pay close attention to her comment and the other shows that are archived on that same area that you go to. All right, so let's get started. We had 2 trivia questions last week, and so the questions were this. What is... I got to read my own writing. Okay. So I showed you on the back of that gemstone box from another company. You could tell it wasn't from the very well vetted words like Gem Shopping uses. So we're very specific and follow GIA guidelines and those kind of things. So that said, there's no such thing as yellow kunzite. So I talked about that last week. And that's where you can go back and actually hear my opening commentary, where there's a lot of education in, also the closing and in between. So I have, what is the actual name for yellow spodumene? So obviously, kunzite is the name given to a specific, you'd have Frederick Kunz, the gemologist who was named after, rolling over if he heard his gemstone kunzite with the yellow adjective in front of it, because the two don't go together. That's like, I talked last week about red emerald. Red emerald sent me through the roof, as does green amethyst. Those kind of things. Says I shake my head like the large. For those of you that ever watched the Addams Family. Great show. Okay, so what is the type of kunzite where the actual that they referred to as yellow kunzite, but it is, of course, spodumene. What is the actual name given to yellow spodumene? And the answer to that is tryphane. Tryphane. I've used it in this show. We've sold tryphane in this show. You don't hear it used often, but it's certainly a better use of the word. Better to say yellow spodumene than to say yellow kunzite. Name 3 countries where opal is found in rhyolite. Of course, there's different ways opal is formed. You know, there's even a type of opal that can precipitate out and form in the bottom of the sections of bamboo. Now, I'm somewhat of a bamboo expert because I have erringly planted bamboo at 2 or 3 of my homes, and I got it from my dad who lived up on the mountain in LJ. It was, his property was such that they looked at it and came and got some for pandas that needed. You get registered as someone that can supply bamboo to the pandas. So in the end, though, after my dad passed away, and Karen was left with a mess because the bamboo had taken over, and every spring she would kick down the new sprouts, but it doesn't stop the runners. And in the end, she had a company that had to come out, a beautiful mountain home with a beautiful view that was being taken over by bamboo. So it's beautiful in the wintertime, green. The weight of the snow and ice can bring it all the way to the ground, and it comes back up. Plus, you can make really cool, and I've bought them made, where you can make these, fun blowguns. Of course, they do it in the jungle for real. You can make, of course, the old bamboo cane pole, still one of the best fishing poles there is. So bamboo, of course, we know now you can have floors. The way they use it, open it out, it's stunning, and have bamboo flooring, which is beautiful. Many, many things. But be prepared for it to be invasive, obnoxious, and almost impossible to get rid of. But like I said, in those chambers, you can use them for actual cups and all, but you can tell by when you chop bamboo that you can almost feel the silica-rich. It's not really in bamboo. It's not like sap, but that material that goes up through the cane is different than anything else, and it is that which allows a precipitate to form. Now, it's not precious opal, no play of color, but it is as much chemically opal as so many other opals that form in odd ways that don't have that play of color. Okay, so the answers, there are several different countries that the opal forms in the rhyolite, which is a volcanic type of rock. So that is like pumice. It'll leave a lot of little pockets, bugs, leftover air bubbles, basically. So over time, you get a precipitate of silica that forms those. You can everything from beautiful different agates that have formed in the rhyolite little vugs to opal. So Mexico, we know, is world famous for its opal in rhyolite. And then we know the Wellow opals of Ethiopia, they form in a rhyolite. You have the opals in the United States out in Nevada, Idaho. You have the fire opals from Oregon as well. So all rhyolite associated ones. The big difference is, of course, the Australian deposits, where they are formed completely different. But that's for another day. So those are the answers there in general. All right, so we have, starting off, Miss Jan says, hi, Shawn. You probably, nope, that was the last week from the question. Okay, so we have Cindy in Pennsylvania. First thing I saw was a picture. I wish I could have replicated it and sent it on. But it is of another guy in his garage, and he couldn't even get his car out because he has all of his rocks and minerals displayed in front of it. And it was like that other one. We're just surrounded. And so she says, this picture reminds me of you. Very much so, and my garage is very much so, except it's like equipment, I have my saws lined up on one side and overstock of equipment that are on rolling carts all over, and the basement, all around. And of course, then the rocks and minerals in the house. Yep. Pretty much anywhere there's a flat spot, it's full. There's something taking up its place. Cindy in Pennsylvania again says, hello, Rock family. Great show, Shawn. Jan said what a lot of us feel. And I think that was in reference to how self-conscious I've become about my teeth. But I think all of you know that's not an inexpensive venture. So we'll see how that works out in the end. Lost about 12 pounds so far due to a change of eating habits. Yep. And it's called the no tooth diet. Don't try it. Let's see. I forgot to mention last week when talking about the amethyst dangles that amethyst is my birthstone. See the magic of the show again. Remember the dangles, the briolets that had the gold cap on them. Such an inexpensive opportunity with the gold. So I'm glad to see she got them, but things wind up where they are supposed to. And in that case, it was her birthstone. She was able to get them before anyone else, and or was meant to have them before anyone else. That's the show. Then on the trivia, Tryphane and Mexico, Ethiopia, and USA. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Cindy in South Central Pennsylvania. Miss Barbara in Brooklyn says, hi, Professor Shawn, Raven, GSA, and crew, and the whole Rock family. I had a great walk down memory lane. Curious about your Spencer opal, I decided to go back and try to find the episode where you first introduced it. From the item number, I could tell 2021 was the year, and went back to the first show archived on YouTube, 9/20/21. So that gives you an idea how far back, because I was always curious. So that's a lot. That's a long time, a lot of shows. Sadly, it was not far enough back, but by scrolling around, I started to watch your info segment on glass-filled diamond and rubies. Over the years, I've done these little mini educational segments that I put in randomly. And actually, I was going to do one today if I get a chance to do it. And so that's what she is referring to, one of these little mini segments. We intended it at one point to maybe put a bunch of them together or create a series of them, like the How It's Done series, and of these little mini educational segments. You never know what may happen. I certainly can't predict the future. Okay, so she goes on to say, info segment on glass-filled diamond rubies, then your description on a fish-tailed twin selenite from Nika. That's N-A-I-C-A. That's the big world-famous series of mines, but known for its selenite or giant crystals, 50 feet long, 3 feet across kind of thing. And a huge polished labradorite with purple flashes that Raven found hard to give up. Turns out I had purchased both. Wow. And have them proudly displayed. I rewatched all the merch from that show and regretted not getting a large iridescent chalcopyrite on dolomite. My point is, it was like watching a whole new show. So when you're casting about for something to watch, try an old episode. There's always more info to glean, and maybe you'll happily come across an item you loved and purchased, fully described. Happy viewing. As to the trivia, Tryphane, yellow spodumene, opals, and rhyolite come from Mexico, Ethiopia, and the USA, as in Utah and Idaho. Starting to get steamy out there. Time to get out old 2 buckets, making a pile of promising pay dirt by the cellar door, and starting up the indoor sluice. By the way, maybe moving that bird feeder off the back porch will keep you guys and Tarzan Teddy from becoming a sad news item. Just saying. Be well all. Miss Barbara from Brooklyn. I like that name, Tarzan Teddy. And when you don't even have steps up to your porch and you're not trying to feed the bear and you only have some bird seed in the feeder up there, and all of a sudden, there's a 250, 300 pound black bear on your back porch. That was kind of surprising. And then again, another time when it was still daylight out. And when it happened, I was sitting in my lazy boy chair. The glass door was closed many times. When the weather's nice enough, it's open. And he would have been up and in that porch with nothing between him and I, and except curiosity. I think we've been staring at each other. So, yeah, it's luckily though, he has spooked off with humans, so he's still scared of humans, and I want to keep it that way. No intentionally feeding Teddy, but yeah, you got some neat items on. I like to hear that about. I know the labradorite, and of course I know that fishtail specimen from Nika as well. That's neat to hear that. I do have already dirt brought up from that spot down in the creek, so I would like to get that indoor sluice going up again, because I had to pull everything up when the basement flooded. So it's like starting again new, but that's okay. It's all much cleaner and nicer. Miss Elisa from, of course, Florida. Oh, by the way, if you missed out on a calcium pyrite and dolomite, I actually saw one. I came across, that's me. It's almost like mining in my own home. And there's a story to that this week. But a few weeks ago, back in a back bedroom, I was doing a little mining and came across in a random bag with some odds and ends that were not rock related, and how I got there, I have no idea, but is a chalcopyrite on dolomite specimen. And I've been meaning to inventory it in, so I guess it'll happen when it's supposed to. And since now you want it, maybe I'll do it or maybe if you want one, I'll do it and set it aside for you and mine. I went back to look for it though once and didn't see it, so it's there. I saw it. I know I saw it. It's like having to rediscover the vein, and yeah. I always think of the superstitions and the Lost Dutchman. Yeah, that's quite the story, Lost Dutchman mine. I like folklore like that, and very possibly there could be an incredible vein of gold up there in the Chiricahuas, and you could maybe get it without the Apaches scalping you or something, but you never know. To every story of lore, legend, and fantasy, almost all of them started with a grain of truth. So just how big that grain of truth is, you never know. The lost gold mine could have been a copper vein or a pyrite, lost fool's gold. You never know. But it could be a lost vein of something. That's just the way those things go. I like to think it's cold, though. Okay, so Miss Elisa says, hello, Professor Shawn, the lovely Raven, GSN crew, and Rock family. Thank you so much for the opal doublet. That would be a great addition to my opal display, or maybe a very lovely pendant. Thank you. I'm opting out, and my answers to this week's trivia are Idaho, Oregon, Ethiopia, and Mexico, and then Trifane. Oh, you would have gotten them all right. My favorite item of the week was the 17 mineral collection. It had a lot of really good specimens. My husband will be retiring from the Marine Corps next week. He served 22 and a half years. Wow. And, as a father of a soldier myself, I can please pass on my my gratitude for service to his country. 22 and a half years. That is commendable. So now you get your man back and enjoy him. So my husband will be retiring. If I miss the deadline next week, that is why. That is certainly worthwhile missing more than that. So take care, everyone, and have a great week, Miss Elisa. So again, my son is at 14 years or so and coming along, and I'm proud of all those men and women that voluntarily serve our country. That's commendable always. Mr. Matt in Texas, want to talk to you. Summer greetings to everyone. So you know where these special items went. Last week, I purchased the giant Brazilian amethyst. Okay, now I know where it went. The Brazilian mint green tourmaline. Wow. and 2 of the Mariolite sets. You'll love the Mariolite for fluorescence. This week, the Milk and Honey Tanzanian Cat's Eye Opal, the Madagascar Iolite, the Ammonite Doublet, and the Mineral Collection that Miss Elisa just said was her favorite item. I was telling Christy, the inventory specialist that works the show, that the sulfur specimen alone in that collection set, I couldn't even replace if anything happened to it. So it was, that piece alone was special. That and the amethyst with the hematite in it, just those 2 things, easily the value of the entire thing. And like the Thunder Bay amethyst, you can't just go out and find 2 little crystals together like that. So that was neat. So I'm glad to know that you got that. It's funny because on the mineral collection set, Christy was the one that packed it herself, and she actually sent me a picture of the job she did. Instead of like when you saw it, I had it with just like cotton. Oh no, she put bubble wrap around every one of them, and it was really nicely done. And so you should receive everything in great order. I didn't want that sulfur piece to be broken or anything, so hand it to Christy for a job well done on that. Wow and amazing are not strong enough descriptions. They are items I have wanted for my collection for a long time, and Professor Shawn came through. Thanks ever so much for sharing your treasures. We will be on the road next week, so I hope there's something left from the next show when I return. We'll pass on trivia since won several times recently. Prosit, Matt in Shiner, Texas. Matt, I'm glad you actually mentioned that you were going to be gone. So let me just tell you, I had already inventoried and set up 2 very, very special R minerals that I knew would be of interest either to you or Brad. Brad, because it is they're the most intense fluorescence I have ever seen. And the mineral was referencing, and I had tucked away and actually had forgotten about it, is Autunite, Autunite, and named after its type locality, Autun, France. It is museum quality. It's not meta Autunite. It's been kept away from any kind of environment that would allow it to dehydrate. So the crystal shapes are the most unique habit of them that you find it, and they're not the fan shape that is the most common form. And when you look at the mineral specimens like on Mindat, you pay really close attention, or anywhere you see them, to the actual sizes. They show the pictures of these specimens, and it totally gives you a false idea of how large they are. So that's where, remember, 25.4 millimeters to an inch. So when you see the millimeters or see centimeters, 10 millimeters to a centimeter. So you have to, convert it to a length, width that you're familiar with, let's say inches, because you're going to find that specimens may be only 1 inch, 1.5 inches, yet they have the impression of being really large. Diameter and dimensions are super important to understanding exactly what you're getting. With the Autunite, they were very large and very intact, and like 2 by 2.5 inches kind of thing. The fluorescence was neon beyond yellow, but the problem it ended up to be was Autunite is 48.9% uranium. It is one of the primary ores for that. And by its chemical makeup, luckily, of course, with all of you, always safety in mind. That's why you haven't seen me offering Realgar and Orpiment. I have arsenic ores, but they're beautiful. Red for Realgar, beautiful yellows for the Orpiment. But it's not something, that I care to even sell, because it has to pass through other people's hands other than mine to you, even the postman. So luckily, because I have the right equipment, being the yellow measuring tool for our minerals, the all-2-night read actually off the scale. So the number was not acceptable to me for at any level. And I, in talking with Raven this morning, and all along she knows, of course, she's the one that nicknamed it the Gigger. And she always has a nickname for my weird equipment. And the problem with it is at that level and percentage and content of the uranium, you're going to get more than alpha emissions. So, alpha can be stopped by a piece of paper or your dead skin. It becomes any dust from the all-2-night, and it tends to be micaceous and a little bit flaky. That becomes a problem if it's an alpha emitter, if it's like ingested. That's why radon gas is an issue. Then you have beta and gamma. And when I measured the distance that this tool, when I measured the distance at how far away it was reading, then it was beyond alpha. It was into the beta and gamma emissions. So it was really Raven. And so that's why I'm glad I have her, because she understands at the level of gem shopping and keeping everyone safe and having, here's the difference. I saw all kinds of things online, and here is for all of you to buyer beware. And they were actually offering, I saw all-2-night being offered for sale in almost all of them. None of them actually said the count per minute, which with this one, it is over 100,000 off the chart. And so it also, many of them didn't even say that it was radioactive. And unless you know ahead of time, you can just maybe say, oh, it says beautiful fluorescence. Oh, I don't have this mineral name. Oh, a lot of people don't do the homework they need to do. So responsibility falls on the seller. And with that said, I now have 2 incredible museum quality specimens that are sitting in my corner, and they're going back to where they came from, which was somewhere tucked away. They appeared to disappear. And with that appearance, though, I've led me to finding some more goodies. So we're going to get to those. Let me finish up here. So Matt, don't hurry back to watch the show. I thought that you were going, and I was going to put off showing them until next week, but now I made the executive decision with Raven to not show them at all. I don't think that it would be responsible on my part, because the difference is I do know what I'm selling. Whereas so many other sellers on the internet, they do not know. They really don't. They may have a minimal or limited knowledge. They certainly don't have a Geiger counter. They certainly can't measure or know what certain readings mean. But I do. So therefore, I can't use the ignorance excuse like they're going to do. And I am one of those responsible sellers. So like and subscribe. We are up to 10,400 subscribers. That is amazing. We're clicking along at a great rate. I am going to bring you so many other wonderful mineral specimens instead of that one. It definitely was museum quality, but it's definitely not something I could would do. You'd have to put it in a lead box, never look at it again, that kind of thing. Yeah. Oh, don't want that to happen. So let me just move that, and if that's better. Okay, don't touch. I have tried not to. Is that working? Right, the button. I can't. Let's see. Raise it higher. Is that good? Okay, awesome. See, I told you, we shoot the show just like a live show, even things like that. We don't stop and start. You get everything. Okay, so Matt in Texas says, summer greetings to everyone. Went ahead and said all the goodies that he got. You're going to see a lot of new goodies. So, and referring back to the past shows, like Barbara said, you not only can see the show, but write down the item numbers. If, they may not, like I said, if the sales rep says, and doesn't say it's sold and just says, I don't see it in stock, that means that I may still have that item available for sale. Let me know the item number. Be happy to check it out for you. All right. The next comment I'm going to read is the last comment, and it's probably appropriate. I had to read it a few times to numb myself to the emotions that went in it so that I didn't, could get through it without. Well, let me go ahead and read it, and you'll know why. It is from Miss Penny in Quebec. Hello, Shawn, the lovely Raven, amazing GSN crew, and fellow rockhounds. I hope everyone is well. Trivia on the first question, she writes, not a clue. I know you have mentioned it, but I can't remember. That is the yellow spodumene question. So, of course, the answer is tryphane, but I like that truthful answer there. Not a clue. The second answer, Mexico, Ethiopia, and Peru, those are correct for opals found in rhyolite. Thanks for another great show. Unfortunately, I had to turn down the triangular opal, although it is stunning, but because I purchased parcels, it was too much. And regarding the gemstone parcels, I was going to have more this week, but then I couldn't get to doing those for doing these other specimens. But I am going to have additional parcels that you can crush up, and they're going to be rubies and emeralds, and they're going to be a good deal, and you can smash them and get the colors to make those gemstone paintings. Okay, the rest of this note is from Miss Penny to Mr. Brad, and it goes like this. Now, Mr. Brad, what can I say except for thank you? When Gem Shopping contacted me about the opals, I hadn't watched the show yet, so I thought Shawn found a couple of other opals. I had no idea otherwise. I am glad I'm using a computer and not paper because it would have been stained with tears. Except for my late dad, no one, not even my husband, has ever done anything so magnanimous for me. Now remember at the beginning of the show, I mentioned how Brad sent back that parcel of opals that that would have worked for Miss Penny, and I didn't have any more that would fit what she hadn't, what she missed out on. Except for my late dad, no one, not even my late husband, has ever done anything so magnanimous for me. I am fluent in 4 languages, but for the first time in my life, I was absolutely dumbfounded and utterly speechless. I have no words. Such benevolence from a complete stranger. Mr. Brad, however many lifetimes I have, I will never be able to repay you for such a selfless, generous, thoughtful, magnificent gesture. I pray that it will come back to you 1,000,000 times over in every aspect of your life. Thank you again. I wish everyone a wonderful week and hope to see you next week. Penny in Quebec. I think that says it all. And what a great family here we have. And that certainly is well said, Miss Penny. We hope you continue to have a healthful recovery as well, Miss Penny. And just know that there's love out there to be found, even if it's through a little podcast with 10,400 subscribers. Rock on, you guys. Let's keep it going. Okay, we have a winner. So between the opt-outs and the half rights, it was down to 2 people. So tossing the coin on that one, it comes out to be Cindy in South Central Pennsylvania. You are the winner. Let's show Cindy what you have won. Look at these. These are special. Look at, for one thing, the size. Smoky quartz, and you can see the light bouncing off rutile needles in there. And I love it when you can see the negative impression from where another crystal laid against this, and you can look at that, another one against that, another one against there, and so on. Look at those needles right there. So it is definitely a beautiful natural color. Look at that, with some wonderful, wonderful classic quartz formations. Now this one is the really neat one, actually. It looks almost like you have a piece of broken quartz, but in a way it was. But what has occurred is there is multi-generational growth after it. And so there was other quartz that came in and started forming new crystals over this area. And right here, if you see, that's totally flat there, but you can see a penetration crystal right there that grew over the top, along with other additional ones. So it was just a couple neat collector's crystals I had. Let me put those away, and I'll be back to start the show. Now, this is something I haven't brought you before. Semi-polished or, preformed, whatever you want to call it, or just fantastic display items as specimens. Or once again, you can wire wrap these, because look at this. This is famous Slaughter Mountain, where the finest fire agate in the world comes from. And look at that. That is chalcedony, limonite. As you know, it is very much this color, where it has a lot to do with the coloration of this type of agate as well. Look at these. You can see how they form, and this hasn't even been touched. The way it is, the way it forms is you could easily potentially polish that up. You're going to get a beautiful polish to the chalcedony, and you're also going to see if any more of these wonderful, wonderful botryoidal formations to the color. Look at this piece. This, oh boy, now that's getting into good stuff. I see blue right there in the middle. You have a wonderful varied color as well. That's a little bit of, I guess, markings from a cutter that I left behind. These were some estate pieces I had gotten, I don't know, decades ago. And this is the way I had gotten them. I didn't finish them like that. I always intended to do work on them, more work on them. But as you know, you can take a saw and just saw off a slice and see what you have. And if you have a furtherance, look at that. Okay, so let me get my pointer here. When this is tilted back, look at the colors back in there on that entire formation, that when we looked at it like this, I thought this is all that we were dealing with. No, that's the thing. It's almost like opal, depending on the angle you turn it. Look at that. So there's another whole stone that can be found, so to speak, and cut out of there. I see a little bit of color deep in there. This is a big piece to work with. Look at that one. More. Look at, this is almost all chalcedony in this piece. So every one of these faces, there's an opportunity. Or just leave them like they are. How beautiful is that? And something you don't often see is, they either tumble them or do something with them, but nice polished faces left with the rough specimen intact. So how about this? Also for a price of only $68 on those. Only $68. Now, we have so many fine items to get to. Item 1183724. Take a look at this. Look at this. This is the good stuff. Look at those azurite crystals. Now, the closest you might have seen azurite crystals previously might have been just in those pseudomorphs, where malachite had taken over the crystals that I had offered. I had several nice pieces and still have some if anyone's ever interested in the pseudomorph. They are not expensive either. At least my price is it. They should be, but I got them at a good deal. So look at this. Look at this. Now, that is one side, okay? Let me get my pointer again. And in this one side, look at that. You have that nice fuzzy looking type of malachite, botryoidal malachite. And it appears that a lot of this azurite has formed on top of it. You can see it down in between there. Now, as we come around on this specimen, look at this side, the better side. Wow, look at that bug, where it is just lined with azurite crystals. There's a little malachite showing down there. You can see malachite underneath this. Look at that. Look at how attractive that is. You can see how important that would have been back in thousands of years ago when malachite and azurite were used as pigmentations and paint. This is a double-sided specimen. It displays itself beautifully. You have some other limonite there. Just a really lovely piece. And for an opportunity, here, let me hold it in my hand. So this is considered like a small cabinet specimen. It's nice size. And a fraction. I don't even know how to actually tell you how much these would normally, something like this would normally be, but you could expect 200-300, depending on what mineral you chose to look at there. Overpriced sites, which is almost all of them, but maybe it is just relative to the way I have priced things. So, you know, I know I'm getting this wrong and offering it way less than the market. $88. $88 on that, and it would be $188, $288, whatever it is, it would be stunningly amount more. Now, what I'm getting ready to show you, I used to have one of the largest, most outstanding specimens of what I'm going to show you next. 118 3224. And I, over time, had sold them. They were literally museum quality specimens of this. And I'm talking about large with beautiful smokies. But this, nonetheless, look at this. Here is your amazing spessartine garnet specimen. And oh, okay. Did I give you 118 3224? And this, with those true mandarin color spessartine garnets. Of course, with garnet being my birthstone, you know I'm going to have some garnet. Would have to have one of these. Well, I had a whole flat of them at every level of cost. And this has some of the best formed for the size crystals of microcline feldspar. You can see those here and see how well formed they are. Then look at how beautiful the dodecahedron garnets are with that classic mandarin color, and many of them, of course, facet grade quality. In between, you have smoky quartz crystals filling it in. You can see you have nice quartz out there in crystals, and then all these smoky colored items are actual crystals as well. And you can see that, like that one right there, perched up. And then as we look in a little closer, you'll be able to see what I happen to always love about these specimens. It was almost like parasites. You saw where either the quartz engulfed the spessartine crystal, or the spessartine was on top of the smoky. Look at that. Look at that spessartine garnet just resting on that microcline, where it was just growing on top of it, using up its life force. It actually does and will use up any surrounding minerals. As the temperature drops in these pockets, different crystals will crystallize out at different temperatures. Look at that clarity to that one. You can see the spessartine right behind it. Look at this microcline with those two more garnets on top of it. And that's what's so fun, is to just look at this and imagine what's going on as each different mineral will crystallize out at different temperatures or at different times as the hydrothermal fluids come in and out of the pocket. And that's why you get multi-generational growth. You might have one, something that formed crystals in one period of time, and then it could be thousands, millions of years later, you have something else that a hydrothermal fluid that will come through the pocket and often will etch away or dissolve what was there, leaving an opportunity for a cast, a pseudomorph to be filled in, or something else to grow over the top. So you can look at this and you can kind of figure out the timing, because for the garnet to grow on top of the microcline crystal, you know that the microcline had to come first. And you can look deeper into it to see if the smoky quartz came first. It looks like the feldspar, then the smoky quartz, then the garnets, because I see garnets on top of the smoky at the end. And internally, look at, I think that one has a garnet internally where the smoky quartz enveloped it. This is a nice size. It's affordable. It's going to come with an adjustable stand. And let's see, the back of it gives you a good idea of just how it looks like just a classic matrix you see on the surface of it, where you have feldspar start kicking off the growth cycle. So very, very attractive. And these primarily came from the Wushan mine, and it's often called was the Wushan Spessartine mine, because that's really what it was known for. And we would like for all the wonderful specimens to come from countries that are easy to work with, but that's not always the case. There has been stunning specimens, of course, out of China and other countries that, many times the only way you get them is a black market where, even someone as simple as smuggling out a specimen in their lunchbox, it does occur. And, supplements many miners' meager wages in doing that as they come across these specimens when these blast these pockets looking for the primary ore. And it is only those front miners at the front that really get to see, regardless of what they're mining, you can bust into a beautiful pocket of everything from, chalcopyrite to pyrite, as you're mining these things. So, the thing is, the companies are in it for a profit. They don't care. They blast. Everything goes into a crusher, and many, 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 many incredible specimens have been crushed. Think about this. Until rhodochrosite became more than a gang mineral, which is a mineral that is basically useless to the what a miner is mining, and so they throw it on a tailings dump. A lot of stunning rhodochrosites were found in the tailings dump of the Sweet Home mine. And then once it became, of course, the valuable mineral that it became, there was a rush to all kinds of tailings dumps. And I can be one to tell you that many, from gold tailings to other mine tailings, there's incredible stuff that left behind by the miners as they really go for speed and weight, and some of this other stuff gets pulled out and just dumped in a pile. And the miners don't care. The mine owners go for profit, and specimens are not what they're out for. Later, when mines are shut down, they are bought up, or rights are people are allowed in to get, and they're kept open for specimen mining. That's pretty cool. Other than that, so many mines are now what they call extinct and inaccessible. So anyway, here's an opportunity to get in on, I do not have another one of these. Of course, I didn't really know I had this one. There's a story to these specimens that you're seeing here. It was Shawn stumbling across another another one of his stashes and found some stunning items that you're getting to see now. All right, so by making this one, the opportune price that I am, I know it's going to be scooped up like so many of these other pieces, and it's a opportunity that you're not going to often get. How about this for only $118? $118. And that's just it. As many people have put it, you know, they know these shows are supposed to be about show and sell, but this show is about show and tell, and you get to buy what you learn about. So yeah, only, and that's not the stand. It's going to be a little cool, a better one. Actually, it's a little neat adjustable one that'll work great with it. $118. Now, this next item is mind blowing and nothing like I have ever shown. And I'm so fortunate I can bring you this. Item 1183024. And two things are going to go with this. We're going to start with the chrysocolla, and then you're going to get to see something amazing afterwards. Check this specimen out. This is the actual way this looks by way of the shininess to it. There was a very well-known pocket of chrysocolla that came out of the L'Etoile du Congo mine, which means the star of the Congo. That's where this specimen is from. And it is remarkable for the chrysocolla that you see. This is, when you think about high-end chrysocolla, this is what you need to be thinking of. Look at that blue. Look at that blue. And then you have actually another growth, and I believe it to be chrysocolla also, but could it be certain? It is all these little crystals on the surface, and let me give you a look through here. Look at all those. So you have all those neat little like semi-botryoidal additional. Yeah, isn't that neat? Look at that. So you wonder if that was allowed to keep growing. This is probably what you could end up with, because look at this. There was another layer that this chrysocolla grew on top of. And so this looks like potentially malachite down here. Absolutely malachite mingled with this, and you can see almost the banding in the chrysocolla. Yeah, not almost, there's definite banding there. So different layers of multi-generational growth of the chrysocolla. Look at this going around this piece. Boom! This might be the better face yet. Look at that. Look at how beautiful that blue color is. And see that shininess to it? That is natural. If you go and look at Mindat, it's like every dealer is apologizing for the shininess. They said, we really didn't do anything to this specimen. That's how it came out of the ground, with this shininess. Okay, when you see these specimens, I looked at others. What amazed me was the size. So I pay attention to how many millimeters or centimeters they say. And so many of them were like a half or a third this size. This is actually, when you see it in the hand, this is a large specimen for this kind of quality. And so this would be considered a cabinet quality specimen on the smaller side. Now, there's one other mineral we need to talk about, and it is called heterogenite. And it is this gray you see here. And you can see it on the back. Oh, here is something else. Look at these little pockets where they have really neat little additional growth in there of chrysocolla. And then look at this. Look at this one. Now, this powder blue color it can actually be another mineral. There are so many different closely related copper minerals that it could be another mineral. You do see, though, the deeper blue color that's chrysocolla, but this blue could also be chrysocolla also, just a different color, as well as the green. We know chrysocolla in green, but the really valuable chrysocolla is this color blue with that botryoidal formation. If you actually, you wouldn't dare do that, but if you cut a cabochon in it with all those little botryoidal formations, you end up with a cabochon that really would have that circular look in it. Or if you just polish the face of this altogether, which of course would ruin all those, so it's not something you want to do. But what you would have is a really remarkable face, like you see in malachite, except these little circles and round areas would be even smaller. So they look, it looked really cool. But it's not going to be ever me that would destroy such a valuable specimen like this. Now, heterogenite is a unusual item. It's called referred to as a cobalt oxyhydroxide. And so it actually has cobalt in it. And that is what this darker gray material is, as far as what I can determine it to be. This is a beauty. This is a beauty. And I have it, and of course, at a fraction of what the market would actually want for something as classic as this. And so, especially coming from a world famous mine, and having all the bells and whistles that a specimen like this should have. So, how about this opportunity? Only $128. Only $128 on that. And I don't have another one like it. That is the only one that I have to show you or offer you. And that is a real jewel. That if you have chrysocolla and do not have this color blue with these formations, then from that particular mine, then you really don't have a chrysocolla. I only say that because that is the go-to, the desirable place you want something that to be from. Okay, I'm going to put up a couple things because the next item I bring you is going to take a moment of my breath from me. So I need to get a drink, put these items up, be right back. Okay, this is one of those amazing pieces I had talked about years ago that I had, and but it's not the amazing ones, which they're all amazing actually. When I refer to the gem silica chrysocolla combinations, whether it's the Ray mine or the Inspiration mine, it doesn't matter. Either one of those, you have some of the rarest type of chalcedony ever that is formed at those mines due to the presence of chalcedony adjacent to chrysocolla. That combination causes a bleeding of the copper ions into the silica, which all silica is SiO2. It's just quartz, but it's a variety of chalcedony quartz. So you see that botryoidal formation, like you know chalcedony can form in. You see it in the inside of the agates of the agatized coral out of Florida. You see those botryoidal formations, and you see the chalcedony where it is brownish colors, yellow colors, you know, due to, well, in those cases, a lot of different iron impurities. In the case of when it is blue and green like this, you are talking about a whole nother beast when it comes to value and rarity. Now, look at this. Here is what you want. That is, well, look at that, some of the most gemmy looking material. And what you need is a chrysocolla base. And if you look closely here, Look at this darker green. That's what it needed. You have that green. And then when you have the chalcedony that forms over it, you have the bleeding of the copper ions into the chalcedony, and you get a green, a blue, a greenish blue, bluish green, or blue, straight up blue by way of it. Now, as I turn this, you're going to actually see where this is a blue in many instances. Just kind of depending on the way you look at it. So you can, if you look at this one piece here, as I turn it like this, you can see where green comes through it. And you can also, look at this formation, you can also sometimes see where the chalcedony will almost fill in a cast from another crystal, so you get a pseudomorph type of look. Now, when you look at this, you want to make sure that the actual chalcedony itself is colored the green or the blue or in between, and not still clear with the green behind it giving it the color. So that's easy to see in this, that it is not a clear chalcedony against a green background, because all you have to do is look at the edges and look at it and be able to see that this entire material is actually colored green. Now, look at this. You have additional nodules that, well, okay, so this is where somebody cut the bottom off of it, and let me see if it stands on its own. Not so much, but great reason, glad they did, because what you see here is your, for certain, chrysocolla, and that is this material, and that gives you, well, forensically, as a rock hound, forensically looking at this, saying, yep, that's chrysocolla. That is, I tested the hardness of this to make sure it wasn't smithsonite or hemimorphite, which can look exactly like that formation and be that color, but it's soft. So of course I tested the hardness, and it tests out at the hardness of chalcedony. So when I am doing my I guess gemology investigation of pieces, that I go through the whole motion and you know, then check off all the boxes it needs to be checked off to determine that yes, that is actually a copper colored chalcedony, thus gem silica. It gets the title of gem silica. Here's another cool thing. Look at this. Look at these areas right here, right over here, right in here. I wanted to actually like investigate them more, because it is cuprite. Cuprite. I wasn't so sure that there wasn't actual copper ore, because it looked so copper-like. But cuprite is that color, and I didn't want to touch anything since I was offering it for sale. I'll let one of you guys want to, but it would be neat if you actually hit into a some actual copper ore, well, native copper, so to speak. The Inspiration Mine in Globe, Arizona. Globe, Arizona, known as one of the biggest and most prolific copper producing areas in the world. And so, yeah, there's all kinds of copper items and copper minerals. Inspiration Mine, very famous, along with the Ray Mine, both in Globe. And wow. So as you look at this, look at how you can see that, see how the blue in that? And that's what I was doing when I was looking at this with different lighting. Look at that, okay? See how blue that is? And look at that. So it did the same thing with me under an entire different set of lighting at my house. And at some points, it was like completely blue looking. That's why I was thinking it was hemimorphite. And so then, look at that. Isn't that kind of cool? Green. But that's one of the natures of this beast, and something really cool. A little add-on there. Look at those. I don't know, 2 little dimples. This specimen, it's stunning. Now, as gem chrysocolla, if you figured the value it would cut in cabochones, it would be a lot of money. As a specimen, it is still a lot of money. I was just looking at that little pocket. It is unique as far as specimens go, and it is also definitive for what it is, because you have the very obvious chrysocolla, the very obvious chalcedony, and then a very, very cool green base running underneath it. Everything you want that specimen to be and more. That's gorgeous. Okay, price on this, again, the market has sent gem silica through the roof over the years. So this one, I'm still keeping it affordable, and probably shouldn't sell it for this kind of price. But if you've ever wanted one of the rarest it probably is the rarest chalcedony, type of chalcedony there is in the world. You normally can't afford it, but I am making this one affordable at only, when I think about the thousands and stones, look up how much gem silica cabs are going for and how much they're selling them for. It is unbelievable. But anyway, specimen, beautifully, beautifully rare, and I'll offer that for only $288. $288 on that. And that's one of those that, try to find another one. And any place that would have them, it won't have all the bells and whistles that they need to have. So remember, for everything, for it to work out right, you have to have the presence of chrysocolla. There really should be chrysocolla present. I mean, they can do so many different type of treatments. They can induce, well, we won't go into that now, but just look for the things that I checked off with you that are in this specimen that you look for in others, and that you have to have another source for the copper ions to be to affect the color of the chalcedony. If you do not have another copper mineral, then it might be questionable. And again, the other thing is, a lot of times you can have it over the top of a green or blue mineral, like that blue chrysocolla that I showed you, and the chalcedony, for whatever reason, will form over the top of it, and maybe it's the chrysocolla is stable enough that none of the ions bleed into the chrysocolla. It can look blue or green from the top, but looking through the side and whatnot, you'll be able to tell. You'll be able to see where it's clear and not actually having picked up the true color that it needs to be, which would be anywhere from the greens to the blue range. And again, the other thing, it has to be silica. In other words, it has to be the hardness in the range of quartz. And so that's kind of where I started. And then I knew right away that I was seeing the chrysocolla. I checked the hardness, bingo, gem silica, and everything else fell into place. So that's an excellent value for you. Now, sticking again with some
Is this a variety of, what is it, chalcedony?
Yeah, yep. Gem silica is it's the most expensive type of chalcedony there is. And it sells for price per carat in the hundreds of dollars price per carat. But everything has to fall just in the right place at the right time to get the chalcedony to pick up the copper ions and have that true color, not just clear white chalcedony. That's why it's important. And so with this on the bed of chrysocolla, all those ions bleeding in did the right thing, and it is a showy piece because it really is an educational piece. You can see the geology happening in motion, and it's easy to see the chrysocolla. And not only this band that runs underneath it, the green that runs underneath it, that is, you can see that it's exposed, but here, that's important right at the base. And probably why the miner actually did that, to expose the visual part of the chrysocolla, assuring that this piece is, has everything it needs for that process to take place and wind up with one of the most, if not the most expensive variety of chalcedony there is. That is a large specimen, and if you broke it down into how many stones it would cut by way of value, thousands of dollars. Now, let's stick with Arizona. I have one of the most desirable and collectible specimens from Arizona next. This is remarkable. Item number 118-3424. 118-3424. And wow, this happens to be one of Raven's favorite stones, but very expensive to collect. And so, you know, it's not something we look at that. Look at that. That is wolfenite. And this is from the 1960s. It's actually easy to figure the age on this. Now, I'm going to show you something really cool. And this was the way I got it. And of course, always keep labels when you get them. Look at that. That is on the was on the specimen. The Red Cloud Mine, La Paz County, Arizona, and even the price tag. And you can see from this just the way the specimen was. And when specimens came out, this was and is a 1960s or so specimen. The mine closed in '03 altogether. And so there will be no more wolfenites. The Red Cloud Mine was world renowned for wolfenites. Most wolfenite crystals, even when I was looking at Mindat and zooming in on the specimens, there was, I don't know any that didn't say that the crystals were pristine. Almost all of them, for whatever reason, have some kind of nicking or chipping out of some of the edges. So this, for these crystals to be in as good a shape as they are, that is a plus. Like, look at this one. You can see this one. And so many of them are nicked and chipped from either from the process of removal or blasting, etc., whatnot. This is considered large. Here's another one of the specimens when I was looking at what was offered and the size, you know, the picture relative to the actual size and what they were selling. Many times, often it was just a crystal of it they were selling, and it was just really expensive. So this mine has actually been totally closed. It has the land to the point where the land has been reclaimed. So it's been closed 21 years ago. So basically when they reclaim the land, and as time passes, you won't even be able to tell there was ever a mine there. And for a mine that operated from a, you know, that operated for what, 100 years longer? A long time. It was, so wolfenite is a lead molybdenate. So molybdenum is like a chrome. It's in the chrome family. It's used for steel hardener. It's a wonderful, wonderful metal. And that's what it makes up wolfenite, is just lead and molybdenum. It was named after Franz von Wolfen, who was a Serbian botanist and mineralogist. So you don't hear about that very often, but this was in 1845. Hardness of it is 2.5 to 3. It belongs to the scheelite group of minerals. And you may not be too familiar with scheelite, but if you're a fluorescent lover, you might want to be. So on this specimen, there was too many other things for me to be able to find room to write. From what I can tell, there's cerussite, which is a lead carbonate. There's also quartz, and there's also siderite, which is an iron carbonate. So just listen to my words and write those down. And you'll have to do some looking into this to figure out everything. But there's one other mineral that is easy to find. Use a black light. Go in the closet. It is the fluorite. When I first checked this for fluorescence, I was amazed and had no idea, and I kept checking and to see exactly what was fluorescing. It wasn't crystals. It was random bands through the matrix material. And what it is fluorite. And it was in these whitish bands, like that's going to be fluorite right there. And it's numerous. All this is fluorite. It fluoresces the most beautiful purple. Fluorite here. Look at all the additional wolfenites down here. This looks like where someone had a catalog number. That's what they'll do. They'll put some kind of paint. This now, you're talking about a while back. So we have better methods now. I think either that or maybe it's a mineral. I'll leave it to you to check that a little further. But you never know in these ore bodies. They can really end up with so many different types of minerals on one specimen. Look at these additional wolfenite crystals, which of course tells me that there is, I'm sure, additional wolfenite crystals on the interior of it. When you get any kind of fissures or opening in the rock, look at that. You have the formation of them. The formation of the fluorite is really cool. There's actually a couple crystals up here on the top too, and you'll be able to find them. Here, look at these crystals. With any kind of time, if you wanted, you could do specimen prep and grind away, pull away more of the matrix from some of these specimens. And as we go in, if we can, any closer to this, the different habits of wolfenite are well represented in this. So look at this one where you have the four sides coming up and a flat top to the top of that pyramid. That is actually one of the habits or formations that this is found in. Then look at this other wolfenite coming out of the side, the growth out of the side. That is really cool. Look at these other formations. These are other different forms that wolfenite is found in. And you have, look at that. Beautiful sharp point, no damage to that, no damage to this wonderfully rectangular piece like that, no damage to this crystal, and if there ever is, it's just minor chipping, which seems to be common with these specimens from the Red Cloud Mine. Look it down in there. Wow. So this is one of those specimens. There won't be any more. The mine is closed. It has been reclaimed. This is a old, very old, and you can see even from a long time ago, I left that on there because it doesn't matter what it used to be sold for. The value of wolfenites has, of course, especially with the most famous wolfenite mine probably in the world is the Red Cloud Mine. If you have a wolfenite, pretty much where you want it to come from is the Red Cloud Mine. And these are very indicative of the color. They're not the yellow wolfenites that also have been found at that location. It's red cloud. You want them to be in the red range of color. And that red-orange that you see is right on. Look at that with that flattened pyramid formation. That's really desirable. Look at all these others with the very intact crystal points. Look at that one right there. Wow. That would have been so easy over time to have been damaged. All right, this actually sits and displays itself very attractively all on its own. Of course, you know, maybe you'd want to take the label off, but make sure you always keep it with it. Let me see something. Yeah, okay, so you can display it that way as well. That is a beauty. And a large size, all things considered. And again, you can look close to find the other goodies on it, which is, I think, siderite, some cerussite, and there's definitely quartz on there. So anyway, how about this? I have an opportunity pricing on this. Again, when you look at the market and what they're selling for, you will know that only $278 is a bargain. $278 on that beauty. Now, ore minerals. Well, I am going to, okay, let's see. How much time I have, because what I have for you in each of these takes a moment to talk about and explain, only because there's so much to talk about and explain. Let's go to Australia. 1183924. Okay, now just hold on that. Don't pull that description up, Asif, yet. If you could just wait one moment. I want to show this, and I want to see if anybody in their mind would know what this is before I tell them. Now, take a look at this specimen. It is remarkable. I've only had one other one, and someone in the family, if I remember correctly, did buy it. So that person may know exactly what it is. This is the only other one, and it has been in my own personal collection for many, many years. All right, so you can see this other metal. It's only two basic minerals we're looking at. We have the red, and we have the very gray and very heavy looking mineral. Look at the color in these crystals. All right, so think to yourself what you think it might be, and let's see how both of these, how close you come. All right, let's see the description. Survey says Australian rhodonite, world class. Look at the termination of these crystals, and the galena, that is the primary lead ore in the world for producing lead. It's a low temperature mineral, and you can see that it pretty much looked like it completely enveloped and formed around the rhodonite crystals, and even became part of some of them. Now, you've seen maybe the Brazilian rhodonite that is stunningly facet grade from like Padre Pariso. You've seen the Canadian rhodonite that's opaque and great carving material, scattered usually with some black manganese oxide within it. And what you haven't seen is Australian rhodonite. And these crystals for Australian rhodonite are some very fine color and very transparent. Now here's the other neat thing. Okay, so we talked about the galena being a low temperature ore. Well, when these things, different minerals form, it depends on what temperature a lot have to do with it. So what you can get is, look at this. Now this is basically etching, except in a way that it gives it a melted look. You can still see the crystal, but you can see these rounded type of formations, whereas, you know, we've seen etching before that leaves, like in quartz or in the beryl family, in aquamarine, leaves really sharp kind of edges. Not in this case. Look at this crystal, where again, it looks partially dissolved away, leaving edges kind of rounded. So like it kind of melted away at a low temperature, which is probably what's going on. Not sure what temperature rhodonite forms at, but galena is a low temperature lead ore. You also look at this, and I didn't note this, but you have a little bit of it looks like chalcopyrite, maybe pyrite. I'd have to see what is known to be found at the mine, but I think it's probably a chalcopyrite. It is obvious by looking at this and the way the crystals are enveloped by the galena that there is a lot of additional rhodonite on the interior, on the inside of this specimen. And rhodonite is formerly, I used to always say, oh, rhodonite is a manganese silicate. It kept it simple. And rhodochrosite, manganese carbonate. It just kept it real simple. But they have updated the chemical formula to better represent what exactly rhodonite is, which is a calcium manganese, and yeah, so Mn3, that's one molecule, and then manganese with silicate and oxygen. So it's a little different, adding calcium to it. This is from the Broken Hill mine. Now, here is something else really important. There will be no more specimens from the Broken Hill mine. The Broken Hill mine first started operation in 1885. I didn't even know there was even people in Australia in 1885. There's not but 3 since then, it seems. Remember, I have traveled Australia, but pretty much all the weeks I spent there, I never got out of New South Wales, but that's okay. Lightning Ridge was in New South Wales, and it was a 500-mile drive from Sydney. So it was a long haul, but well worth it. Saw, of course, just wild kangaroos, wild parrots everywhere, and they have some, just bizarre animal life. Beautiful gray parrots just flying across the road, and there is no fencing on the drive out there, so you have open range, and you have cattle guards across the road. Is the only thing that kind of keeps them separated when they need to road-wise. But other than that, I can tell you we had to stop many times to let the cattle move slowly across the road, and you don't dare try to force your vehicle to move them out of the way. And if you're not watching and you're speeding on this little back road, you can end up making some hamburger and not making have you ever watched an Australian horror movie? They are some of the most brutal. You get in the outback and there is nothing out there truly, and either if you need to go to a hospital, it's hours of driving, or they just bury you in the red dirt. No, wonderful people, but it is still like the Wild Wild West without guns. It is quite the experience, and so was the opal mining. It was like going back in time. So in 1885, for them to find a deposit that wasn't like gold or something that really drove them to mine it is kind of surprising. So what they were after, of course, there were many other ores found there, and it was just a really rich area, and they started mining it in 1885. It only shuttered in 2023, and by this year, 2024, it has been completely shut down and will be reclaimed if they don't find any other owners, which doesn't look like they're going to. So the Broken Hill mine, well known throughout the world, especially for specimens and for this particular one you're looking at now. There is no other rhodonite that is found in such a beautiful host material. I love galena. I love the feel of it, the weight of it. It feels like something. These, let me just do a little backlighting here. Look at these crystals. Look at those. I mean, wow. Rhodonite, from the Greek word for rose, you can see why, in allusion to the color. Look at that. And I mean, okay, look at this, getting its light from the top side. You can see how transparent that these crystals actually are. I am sure there is a stone to facet in there somewhere, but you certainly would not want to mess with this specimen. Look at that. Look at that. Love this stuff. I believe, and I do think I remember, and Miss Gabby, let me know if it wasn't you that got the other one. But I was lucky at the time that I was able, and I have enjoyed this one, but it's time for me to move it on. And again, it is one of those really rare, very desirable, and very aesthetically beautiful specimens from a mine that is now closed. It is world class in every way. Only $448. Only $448, and that is a true only. I was just looking at a light reflection right Look at there. You can see it there too. Look at the transparency to that. I actually saw that from a completely different angle. I mean, that looks like a facet grade stone right in there, which every way possible. And the size, who knows how big some of these actually go. Look at that. I mean, that one could go all the way through and across. This one, who knows how far down. It is just stunning and very, very rare. Now, let's go to something else that you're going to love. And so, yeah, when I was talking to Austin before the show, I said, wow, I brought in some really nice high-end, higher-end specimens, and I was telling them that, you know, we might not show as many, but what we're going to show is quality. 118-3124. 118-3124. And these kind of pieces always require a little bit more explanation and time, because that's what you need and should hear, because once I am done with my presentation about it, then you know you can only learn what you can read, and many times it's not always as easily understood. Now take a look at this next one, and let's give them a minute to see if they might know what it is ahead of time. Look at this. Okay, so you have this stunning pink color. Beautiful. Look at those. And there is something extra special. There is something inside these crystals. All right. So have something in your, oh, what a great shot that is. Wow. Here's the neat thing. See the other neat thing. The exterior of these, that counts. That helps actually determine what it is. And it's desirable, the way that exterior formation of the crystal is. All right. What does the survey say? Look at that. Cobaltoin calcite. And I bet many of you got it right. Now, okay, so the chemical formula for cobaltoin calcite is actually CaCO-CO3. So there's enough cobalt that it is not as an impurity. It is actually part of the makeup of it. And when you look at these crystals, let's look at them closer. Look at this. What I thought was a phantom, still not so sure, but looking at it closer, I believe it to be a proustite or pyrogorite crystal that the calcite has grown up around. Now, pyrogorite is and belongs to the proustite family. There is a little bit of difference. So remember, the pyrogorite is a silver antimonide, silver sulfate antimonide. Proustite is a silver arsenic sulfide. So the only difference between the two, because the identical number of silver and sulfur atoms, the only difference is the center element. In the pyrogorite, it's antimony. In the proustite, it's arsenic. So both can look the color that you see, which is a reddish color. Don't you think, Latif? In that, yep. That's a reddish crystal. As I'm looking closer at that, that is a red. That is a well-defined, actually. Let's look at it. There we go. There we go. So you can see that is and it's fully engulfed by the calcite. Fully engulfed, which of course we know calcite can do. Then over here we have some, well, let's look at the rest of the specimen. Look at this other, and you can see how the calcite has enveloped many of these other crystals. Look at that, and you can see the crystals are pointed and of a complete different color. So, you know, I thought maybe for a moment that it was calcite on calcite, but no, it's not. They do not look like they are. They look flat and more tabular and pointed. So that it'd have been gorgeous without the calcite, but it's actually more beautiful with the calcite. But imagine all these other crystals, what it would have looked like. So as we keep coming around, look at this. Look at this angle. So you can see additional crystallization in there, and within all of these other crystals. Now, the other mineral that is going to be present for the most part that you're seeing is called sapphirite. And many of you are not going to have that. Sapphirite is a cobalt nickel iron arsenate. It was named by Berthaupt, who we know has named many different minerals, and it is for the word sapphirite for sapphire, and which is an impure cobalt oxide, and also used as a pendant. So, as a pigment. And Berthaupt has gotten to, during his lifetime, to name so many other minerals. And so he came up with this one from the word zephyr. And now, it will fluoresce a light orange fluorescence, because you think often that, remember, this is not a Manganoan calcite, this is a cobaltan calcite. Manganoan calcite often will fluoresce strongly, but this fluoresces a light orange fluorescence. And so from this locality, and so when I checked the fluorescence, it was exactly that. It fluoresces a light orange yellow. So this is a Moroccan piece, and it's from the Bouazer mining district. And it is one of the really nicer cobaltan calcites that I have seen to come from that area. So the sapphirite is all this metallic looking, look at this, that has been covered over by the calcite. So when you see this grayish what's the word? Non-acicular. In other words, these you can see, and you can see by the height of the calcite growth, are low dome. But over here, you get the taller crystals, and when you look at them, they all have one of those pointy red things in them, which, upon doing extensive research, is and through Mindat, is and confirmed is Proustite. So Proustite, which is a really cool mineral because it has silver in it. It contains silver. So there is a silver content to this piece. So as we keep looking at this, there is almost all crystallization or mineralization on this specimen. It is remarkable, and it is a gorgeous color. Let me show it to you in my hand so you get an idea of size. So this is, like a medium cabinet size specimen, and the neat thing is you have a beautiful showing and aesthetic look to, if you turn it like that, of just the cobaltan calcite, or you can turn it for a look where you're showing off more of the sapphirite, and then you have this look where you have a wonderful, clean cobaltan calcite, and then one enveloping that amazing crystal. So look at this. And then I looked and I saw what I thought, what I know to be chalcopyrite. I saw, maybe you saw it. It was a little glimmer of chalcopyrite in one spot on it. But I'll leave that for you to find the rest of it. This is an amazing piece, and it is absolutely a huge addition to anyone's collection, and at a very affordable price for this type of item. you know, it's just something that I'll regret in time because I cannot replace any of these for what I'm offering them for. Only $178. $178 on that. Striking. It is just striking. And again, it has a fluorescence to it, but you know, not what you would think. But that's because you're dealing with a cobaltoin calcite, not a manganellan calcite. So I have a lead-in, but I'm not going to show that yet. Let me show you another family member to that one. It is item number 1183624. Take a look at this. Look at this. Wow. Another cobaltoin calcite. Here's the two side by side, but obviously completely different and hence easy to determine that it is from not Morocco. It is from the Congo. And wow, wow, look at that. Now, as we turn this around, you can actually see pink color tone to almost the entire rock. So you have a cobaltoin influence on the entire rock. Any of the little vugs filled with crystals, just filled with crystals. And then, yeah, look at them close up. Look at that. What a beauty. Look at that. Wouldn't that be neat if you landed on the moon and it was nothing but all those crystals like that? Instead of just rocks. But some of the most expensive rocks on the planet have been the lunar rocks that and some have even been swiped and put on the internet for sale. But yeah, they're crazy what they charge for a sample for study. Look it down in there. That is going to be left for you to do some studying actually on that, because that is a crystal, an actual crystal of something right there. It looks like it's got a little calcite over it, but we could have some fun doing some homework as I do. All right, so there we go, got it. That cat, it loves to help me. Okay. I have an excellent opportunity on this guy because it is only $88 on that. Only $88. And great value. Now, so let me, sticking with that theme of calcite and cobaltoin calcite, or cobaltoin, item number 1183524. Let's stick with the calcite family, except show you something, amazing, beautiful. As soon as I saw this, I said, I bet that fluoresces. Now, let's see. Let me turn my light off because this is actually pink. And so it's a light pink when you see it in person. Yeah, I see light pink there. Yeah, don't you? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so you can see the light pink to this specimen. And I said to myself, okay, that's manganellan, and if it's manganellan, most likely it will fluoresce. And so I, of course, put the black light on it, long way, and it glows beautiful. It is, as you can see the notation there, strong pinkish fluorescence. And it also has a catalog number, a little bit worn off, but see what I mean by the kind of paint they put on here? And then they will write a catalog number. So what that tells me, though, that we had a very studious collector that kept up with their specimens and notated them, and of course then you look up the number and there'll be the rest of the history, where the person got it, maybe what they paid, etc., in their file. So many times though, when I get a batch of estate specimens, they'll have this kind of item, and then I'll say, okay, but where's the information catalog that goes with it? And they'll say, huh? And you know, they would not recognize it going through someone's stuff, some unrecognizable catalog, however way they kept it, with numbers and words they can't pronounce. So you never get those with it, and that would be so cool. It's like the logbook to an airplane kind of thing. You know, you got to have it, or else it really changes the value of an airplane. Same thing with a mineral specimen. It adds value if you have additional information of the provenance of the piece. So this at least has the catalog. I'd keep those on there, and I would if I were you. And if you can discern what that is, maybe even repaint it or whatnot. I don't know, up to you. But look at this. It is full of dog teeth calcite crystals. So scalenahedral crystals, and they're just real well defined. And again, it has, so you can see, just, I can tell you by hanging on to it, look at this, just how sharp these crystals are. So really a excellent example of a Manganoan. Oh, here's the other thing. This is definitely from the Nika mine, and of course the Nika mine is a series of mines, but it includes the cave of swords and whatnot with the giant celestite crystals growing. But that extensive series of mines, they mine for all kinds of different items, and the Nika mine over time bought up other mines, so it's one big group of mines, and it's okay to call it just the Nika mine, all inclusive. And that's where this one has come from. It's very well discerned to have a Manganoan calcite crystal, dogtooth crystals, from that locality. And I knew this batch came from one estate, and they were big into copper minerals, and you're going to see that again in just a moment. And this one, very well, easy to determine also its Nika mine origins. Beautiful piece, and an excellent opportunity price-wise on it, because so Manganoan calcite is kind of like cobaltan calcite. It's not an impurity, it's part of its chemical formula. So it would be, that pinkish color would make it idiochromatic and not allochromatic. Allochromatic would be what it, like an emerald, how it gets its, or aqua, how it gets its color from impurities, outside impurities versus its chemical formula. Well, the color comes from its chemical formula being manganese, so it's CaMnCO3 instead of just what would be calcite, which would be CaCO3. So manganese is prevalent in enough quantity to be part of its actual formula, making it an idiochromatic mineral. In other words, it gets that pink color not from an outside impurity, but from its actual chemical makeup itself. Price on that guy is only $77. $77, an excellent specimen. Yeah, beautiful piece. Now, I have a real mind blower coming up here for you, but let me go ahead and cover a couple more things I wanted to show you. And the first is the special giveaway I am doing. Let me show you, since we have talked about pseudomorphs, I have the last 7. Now these are going to be the first 7 people to make a purchase. So in other words, only 1 per family, versus, per each person. No, 1 per family. 7 people that make the purchases will get 1 of each, and it's the last of them. Even Raven was surprised, and then she actually got it. She goes, well, they look like pyrite to me. I'll give you the item number 1105223. And so these are just going to be free for first 7 purchasers. And so she said they look like pyrite crystals, and I said exactly, they were. But what happened, of course, is the pyrite gets dissolved away, or there's another hotter kind of fluid that comes through. And in this case, the pyrite was pseudomorphed by goethite. And I know exactly even where they're from their Ondara mine, and there is some limonite. So you see some of this exterior surface material is the limonite on them. Other than that, they are goethite. And the amazing thing is they are not magnetic, even though, of course, it is not only the limonite, but the goethite also a iron ore, and heavy in iron, but it can be it's neat because the atoms can actually arrange themselves where they're pointing in opposite directions, and it cancels out the magnetism of the iron. But that's a whole nother science we'll get into another day. But anyway, these are excellent, beautiful pseudomorphs, and so you can remove the number of stones. That was just from another old opportunity when we offered them only one time before. There's 7 left, and the 40 grams doesn't apply either if you want to remove that. Thanks, awesome. You can see some of these multiple crystals. So first 7 separate purchasers are going to get those, and that is my summer kickoff special for everyone to get in on. But like I said, limited number, only 7 left, after I had to keep one, of course. So, and I think, and I know that the Raven made off one for her new desk with Zenove. So she worked her first show actually only a couple days ago. It was a D show. I didn't know they had such long shows, and but good for her. If you want to ever see some of the most amazing jewelry, look at the Zenove shows. Not only them, there's amazing jewelry throughout all of them, but I saw some opals and some true paparachas that had actual orange and pink in them. All right, here's one more lesson stone that I have been wanting to show you, because we talked about in the past ametrine. And so you can see that this is actually chipped because I had it to recut it. Well, you can be assured that Shawn will probably never recut this stone, because if you ever wanted to know what a fake citrine looks like, here it is. And yeah, nothing is sacred. When you see something like this that looks too good to be natural, it is because it is too good to be natural. The color purple is about as good as you could ever see, and the color of the citrine is ideal. It's not, of course, one of those orange citrines, then you know it wouldn't be a natural color. They have it just yellow enough to make it an absolutely stunning opposite side without making it a Madeira color. Then you would know that is not coming from this Bolivian mine. Now, look at the purple. Look at the yellow. They're like perfect. And then the final thing that you look at, and it is in the natural world of citrine, the desirable percent. And that is 50-50, half and half. Half should be amethyst, the other half should be citrine. Seldom do you ever see 60-40 splits or whatever, because it throws it off. It doesn't look quite right. So the cutters and the miners always want to be able to find a stone that will cut with the perfect color split down the middle, or very close to it. And look at that. Look at that. So, wrong. 3 wrongs don't make a right. In this case, they make a fake synthetic lab-grown quartz on top of irradiated colors. Remember, in natural ametrine, it is actual Earth's radiation that creates, and the combination of iron that creates the purple and the yellow naturally, but it takes radiation. So therefore, if that's what it takes, oh, mankind, he has all kinds of radiation. Even Shawn has radiation. And I actually have some stones in my malachite box, different ones I'm experimenting with. And I think putting some of that altunite really kicked up my experiment for to see what effect, if any, it has on some stones I have in there over long term. All right, so here's another one of my what is this type of thing, but more so, what do you avoid in buying ametrine? And when you see it as perfect as that, that's what you avoid. Therefore, would Shawn ever waste his time recutting that chip out of that stone? No. Unless I was paid by a client to do it, but then I would tell them that what I'm going to charge, you could buy another fake stone already cut, cheaper. Or a genuine one, but it may not be as nice, but it is genuine. Now, what a beauty. Indeed. What a beauty indeed. Now, let me take a moment, put that up, and I'll be right back. Okay, so, Penny, I have to hand it to you. Magnanimous was a great word to use in regards to Mr. Brad's generousness, is that a word, that he showed you in sending back that perfect set of opals that I wouldn't have had anything else to fill your order that you had requested. So I get those back in the package, and in it is this note that says, Shawn, I am returning this so Miss Penny can have it. Then I have another note that said that he had sent these two stones you're looking at, and he wrote, Shawn, 2 stones in the bag for Shawn, a gift. What do you think these are, and where are they from? Well, you can ask, because it was Raven that brought them down from upstairs, and as soon as she opened them, within 1 second, literally. So everybody have an idea what you think that they may be before I tell you. Take a look at these. So he's wondering what they were. I said within 1 second what they were. And of course, not of course, but I knew exactly, because I have sold and worked with many of these, and it was one of my favorite stones. And I don't know, Brad, if you're testing me, and maybe you really know what these are, but you certainly have I'm certainly willing to send them back to you, because what you have here, so everybody think in your mind what they might be. Let me put another little color to that. All right, so here you go. And this is not exactly to the extent that proper lighting would do. In other words, I don't have a sunlight in here. Okay, but I think you're getting the idea. And I think it's quite obvious that there's a monstrous change of color. And let me turn these a little bit more and look at it from this way. Let me put these further back. And then there we go. Okay, so in what these are, the starting color, and then that color. Alexandrites. Everybody, Brad has just given me two alexandrites that weigh 47 points total weight, and one is has a little bit better color change than the other, but they both have a considerable color change. They also have, one has some really neat rutile crystals in it. The other one has, I haven't figured out what it is, but has a beautiful, larger inclusion in it. Let's check this. Okay, so they are, as they should be, have a magnetic pull to them. And then there's one more thing that I did, and then let's see if we can get it to show through here, and that is a Chelsea filter, something I know that y'all don't get to see very often, but here we go. Look at that. I can show that through there. So a Chelsea filter detects chrome in a particular mineral. So everything from rubies to sabarite garnet to jadeite, even many different minerals will have a chromium content. And if they do substantially enough, and I think you can probably see, let me get that closer because it takes a really bright light. You can see that they are and if I spun these, you'd be able to see them even better. Play depending on the angle. Look at that, red. That is the indicative sign that they are, again, confirms the fact that they are alexandrites. And they have, now, you asked where they are from. I consider myself really knowledgeable about alexandrite, and when I first glanced at them, I first thought, wow, those look like they have a Brazilian color change to them. But upon looking at them a little bit closer, I think that they are Orissa, from Orissa, India. And if they are from Orissa, India, they are some of the best quality that comes from Orissa for color change. In other words, the actual color change to these looks very much like a Brazilian stone. And I would have to do, because I just got these right before the show started, I would look up and see the prevalence now of rutile. Now, rutile is found in the mines in Brazil, where they mine alexandrite. So that's a good sign for Brazil. But I'm going to do a little bit more looking at them and checking them out. And if they're Brazilian, then they are worth even apples for apples, even though the color change is the exact same thing. The origin, it makes a difference. And it would be and easily twice as much for a Brazilian origin. That color we're looking at right now, that stage of color is very Brazilian-like. So it's only the color change on the greenish end that makes me think that they are Orissa. If they had a little bit different other color on the green end of the spectrum, then I could say that they would be Brazilian. But that's what's kind of throwing me off. But a little bit, I don't have all my right lighting. Here, I'll do a little bit more study. But here's the end result. Brad, if you did not know what those are, they have, even at a wholesale level, a considerable value. And they're some of my favorite stones. And I would never, if you're giving them to me, then I would never resell them. I would love for them to be side stones. I always wanted side stones on my ruby ring. And I mean, maybe we'll see. But that's what they are. And I will happily send those back to you if indeed you were not aware of exactly what you were giving me. They are really actually fine quality alexandrites, and origin doesn't matter. They're valuable either way. Okay, let me show you something that will, 1183824. This is something that, as a specimen goes, you haven't seen me feature before anything quite like this. It is, when I saw this, my jaw dropped. Look at this specimen. Look at that. Now, this is cabinet quality, cabinet size, and wow. It is a layer cake of Moroccan azurite and malachite repeating itself. And it's just the colors, the alternating colors is mesmerizing. But wait, there's more. Look at that. Then wait, there's even more. The best. Look at that. Look at that. And look at that pocket of azurite. I don't know. There's not an unattractive angle to look at this thing. Every little opening has crystals in it. And look, I can actually touch the limonite and not get my hands dirty. Look at this. Now, as we go in closer on some of these pockets, you could very well see additional copper minerals. And I have not completely checked it out at all, or for the different types of malachite. Look at this. So you can see you have that spray type formation of malachite right there. Then you have a botryoidal formation right there. Look at the color of the azurite. No wonder the Egyptians went crazy for this material. There's so much you could do. Look at this pocket back in there. Oh my goodness. Let me shine some light in there. Maybe that is where the buried chest of gold is. Hold on. Let me get the other light. Does that go all? I see my hand all the way through there. Look at, let's shine the light back from the other side. Where, oh, I love rocks. Look at that. I don't know. Let me look at this way. Where is that? Where is that coming from? Deep in the recesses of it. Look at this specimen. This is when you have fun. Look at all that to check out. Look at the malachite forming back there. Is some of the malachite, I wonder over time if it was trying to pseudomorph some of the azurite? Maybe so. You'd have to look at it close, but wow. This is one of those specimens that has a wow factor to it. Just really, really attractive in every direction. And if you collect azurite or malachite, it's one of those specimens you almost have to have because you don't have anything else like it. You don't. It is a layer cake of beauty. And I happen to love layer cakes. Put fruit in between with lots of creamy icing. Okay. And I don't have any others that I've ever seen with that type of distinct formation that makes you want to go, wow, that's pretty. And it really is. And something I have not seen. And I have an excellent deal on this. Okay, how about it? Only $188. $188 on that. And that is a lot of look. Look at when you put it that way. Then you have the seams attractively in that direction. Wow, look at that. Or if you put it in a stand like that, so much you can do aesthetically. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous piece. I will miss that one, but that one will find a home, and it'll find the perfect home, and that will be where it's meant to be. Now, let me get to these goodies here, and let's maybe do some sale pricing. How about that? Item 969420. So let's see. We have been, and been to Morocco, right? We're looking at Moroccan goods. I have been to Morocco, and I tell you what, you get off in the country in Morocco, up near Chef Shawn, and away from the big cities. And really, I walked out in this one field. We just kind of stopped alongside the road, our driver for the day, and walked out in the road. And I started picking up fossils, Orthoceras fossils, just remnants. They were small pieces because everybody would have picked up out all the good ones. But it was really kind of amazing that right there, of course, we know so many fossils, all that fossil material that they make the bowls and cups and all coming out of Morocco. So when I saw that, it stood to reason that, okay, now I see this whole country is one big fossil. Let me show you this. This is Moroccan. It is not a fossil, though, but it would add greatly to a Moroccan collection of minerals. Look at that. Look at those barites. And then, yeah, Morocco. Morocco is fine. Yeah, Morocco. Look at the barite. I went actually to a Casbah.
Says, I'm Moroccan. I'm Moroccan.
I'm Moroccan. Oh, yeah, you could say it like that. I'm Moroccan. I'm rocking. Oh, I get it. I'm rocking. Like I'm rocking the USA.
I'm Moroccan in the USA.
There you go. I'm Moroccan. Now it dawned on me. Was that a Bruce Springfield song? Rockin' in the USA. Yeah.
I'm Moroccan.
Yeah. Yeah. And because it's a dry country, a Muslim country, there's places to have a cocktail. But literally, our guide, and this is no kidding, he took us through some doors. Then we went into like a little courtyard where people were just sitting eating sandwiches. It looked like a mom and dad place. But then he just kept saying, follow me. We ducked underneath this little passageway through the bar, went through this, I kid you not, secret doorway into and this hallway that led us down. And we, by that point, were thinking, okay, we're gonna get knocked over the head. And then all of a sudden, he opens the door up, and it opens up into the most beautiful high-walled courtyard. And there were, all the bad, the people that shouldn't be there were there, and then the Westerners were there. And it was truly a secret, would have been like a speakeasy back in the days of Prohibition. And it was a wonderful time, though. They brought out, as automatically as a snack, these little fried fish, like, I don't know, things, sardines or whatever, which I happen to like. And that was just all kind of gratis. A plate of olives gratis. And that was really neat. But we could have never been allowed or found that place without a guide. And, so, of course, everybody gets a kickback. The guide brings you there. Everyone gets their palm greased. But it worked. And we found a neat place to kick back and relax. And we asked.
No. We just looked like you.
Yeah, exactly. We looked like we needed a drink. Yeah, so I'm trying to avoid the word alcohol, but that's what it was. So they served, alcohol, and of course, which was against, the laws there, but you know the right people, you go to the right places, and it was there. We just knew we had to ask the right person, and of course he was our driver for the day, and we were tipping him and paying him well. And there's a horrible end to that story. I'll tell another day. But this piece here, I have it on a huge sale price. How about this? $18. $18, and Vanadinite on barite, a wonderful collector item. Now, let me show you item 1019721. See, I showed a lot of items that were, on the pricier end. So let's kind of make up for that and show you some sale items. And here, look at this. Now, these, I had many of them at one time, but not many anymore. And this, you can't find. It was from a particular find of blue, let's see, did I give you the wrong item number? Item 1019721. Where you got that? Look at these. So these straw formations of chalcedony, of blue chalcedony. So here we are with the chalcedony again. And then look at that, intersecting with stilbite. That is really cool. So look at both of these, aesthetically attractive. And super sale priced because I am going to offer both. Oh, let's just have a big time sale on those. $10. $10 for both. And even though they can't even get that material anymore, but that's the way I roll. I know, hush, Latif. Item 115. I know they'll start making fun of me about my, inexpensive items. But look, all those other items were in the hundreds of dollars each. So 115.9324. 10,400 subscribers now, Latif. 100 more, 100 a month basically have been added. Thank you, sir. So, once I learned to say like and subscribe, I didn't know that lingo. Check this out. Now, it comes in one of these suspension boxes. And because, look at this, it looks great coming, going, and from either end. Look at that. That is a really, now you have an idea of, that is a reverse watermelon. You have the green, but look at it. It's just right there at the very base, but that is green surrounded by beautiful, really facet grade pink tourmaline right there. And with that green core, if you buffed the bottom of this, do a little dome, that would be really pretty. And then you could do a drop pendant, capped piece or a wire wrap piece. Anyway, most unusual, and I have already marked this down. Crazy opportunity, but I have it even crazier now, and gonna make that one. Should I do it? $28. $28, and that is a huge sale price. And the thing about it is, it's really unique. And I've kept it for years because it was going to be another one of those projects. And I never have gotten to it. But that's why all of you can. And speaking of, Anthony, where are you? I haven't heard from you in a while, Mr. Anthony, so hope all's well. And Charles in Oregon. But I think, the beginning of the summer season, I think a lot of people are starting to kick around. Now, item 114, until Shawn can see. Those 6s and 8s get me. 114, 62, 23. Now, wow. I tell you what, that looked like a boo-boo. And let's see. I tell you what, if someone wants this, or also, should I offer this? I think this chip like this, and I'm willing to make it real inexpensive. Should I offer it for sale? Just put 2 pieces because it actually balances it out. Because this went over here, I'm going to put both pieces in there. But if I actually wanted to break something up, look at that. That couldn't have broken in a better place because this is far more attractive and balanced looking like that. If you want to drill it, actually, I'll drill it free for you if you want. Look at the other side. So that's just an extra piece of zoisite. Look at that black crystal right there. And of course, remember the black, we used to be, thought it was Shermacite, and all this time they got it wrong. It was wrong. It is actually a black pargasite. But anyway, because of that, it just gives me a reason to offer it to you real inexpensively. And since I know I can't go less than $10, the guys will tease me too bad. I couldn't go that cheap. Anyway, let's make it though $12. That is a great sale. Really, really good sale price there. And just because that piece fell off, it actually should have made it worth more. I think it's more attractive that way. Now, let's see, where does this go? I've got so many things going in front of me. And that can go there. All right, now. Ooh, oh, this is crazy. Item 1146623. I mean, both Raven and I could not believe this hasn't sold. It is actually quite rare, and is so inexpensive. And since we were talking about azurite, if anyone collects azurite and do not have a specimen like this, well, I tell you what, these are called azurite suns, and yeah, and they're little forms of azurite that grow on top of kaolinite, and that's something you don't see in Australia, the Malbunka mine, and you can see how there is on the interior probably more azurites. I would just like to know geologically how that formed, because you have kaolinite, which has nothing similar to a copper mineral. And that is just unique. You can see how they have, the specimen preparer has removed some of the kaolinite away. So you could see and you can see, so this one on the end is a perfect sun. You see how it radiates away from the center? And so that's where they get the word sun from, is from a formation like that. And you can see other partials here as well. So, you know, if you collect anything like kaolinite, azurites, then this is one form you certainly don't have. I'm going to put a big sale price on it, because it's certainly worth way more than the $28 now. So I've showed it before, and I am really surprised that it hasn't sold, but at that price now. Maybe it is a difference of money now. But at $28, that should certainly get someone's attention. Yes, this one, item 1025521. Okay, because I talked about this earlier when I was referring to that azurite specimen, that many, quote, azurite crystals we see, we only really get to see the idea of the form when they're replaced by malachite as a pseudomorph. Well, and I referred to, here we go, the pseudomorph. Here it is. Look at this. So everything you're seeing here was an azurite crystal. And now that you saw those azurite crystals in that one specimen that had the bigger crystals, you can get an idea now, as you look carefully at these, exactly how they look like, those azurites. And to do a comparison, I actually grabbed that azurite specimen. Here we go. So look at this. Now, these crystals, look at that. Picture those blue, and you have this. You have this. Actually, wouldn't it be really neat because of, I think this one, let me see, is also, yeah, so this azurite is Moroccan and the pseudomorph is Namibian, but you still have a great side-by-side comparison for a pseudomorph. You can see the shape of these, how similar and actually exacting the shape of these are. So every single one has been an azurite, and the malachite just took it over. And there is not a single bit of blue left. We know malachite does not form in a crystal shape like these. So that's why you know that they are a pseudomorph. Let's go in just a little closer on this if we could for just a second, because I want to show, if I can, let me get the brighter light in here. Here we go. Look how well formed these are. Look at this. I've never done before, because then it probably would have sold. I think you see a hodgepodge of green together and don't realize just how perfect the replacement is and how well defined the malachite crystals are for the in replacing the azurite. Look at that. You have perfect, sharp, look at that, crystalline edges and corners along the same shape. Look at that. Very well defined. And so here is the azurite. And again, look at the triangular shapes to the actual azurite. And I tell you what, the malachite, look how beautiful those are. Good grief. Wouldn't that be amazing, Latif, to have a stone that was that color? Like Alween. Except that I can only have a little 5-point Alween size. So look at this. These are just, the pseudomorph replacement was perfect. And even to the sharpest of details. Oh, there we go. There's a great shot. Wow. That's a great shot right there. I don't know why I've never tilted that angle like that. My goodness, that really shows those better than I've ever shown those before. It's always neat to learn something new between having a great cameraman and the way I hold it. That's what it is. It's all about the way I hold it. Look at that shot. Look at the contrast. We have the green pseudomorph with the azurite in the background. That is like the cover of a magazine, kind of. I like to further. Yeah, that is just says it all. Okay. Anyway, I was going to put this on a huge sale, but now I'm not so sure. It's way more beautiful. No, I'm going to sale price it. I noticed, actually, though, I had marked it down so far, I just had nowhere else to mark it down. So we're going to keep it at that excellent opportunity markdown price of only $68. $68. And, you know, if you have malachite or azurite, it's like you have to have the azurite sun and you have to have the malachite pseudomorph. Those are two rare additions to a collection, and they are so inexpensive. They really are. There is at our big gem and mineral museum, plus it's museum for other things as well. Tellus is having a rock get together this weekend, but I don't need to go. If I go, I'll be tempted to buy stuff. What do I need to buy? Not what I need to buy. When all these things that you're seeing right now are still coming out of my our personal collection. Yeah. So nothing there I need. I would just be tempted to get more rocks that I would just be offering you guys, and the things I haven't showed you are new to you anyway. So Oh, here we go. Item 1120623. And I didn't get everything inventoried that I wanted to. Next week, I shouldn't give any hints away, but I have some affordable erythrite. If you don't know what that is, look it up. It is a stunning color material, and I have other things, really neat things. All right, take a look at this guy. This is one of those just not normal spheres. It is, if I have it still in quartz, look at that, something special about it. Water is the most common inclusion in quartz, and it is also what is commonly the origin of these sometimes stunning irises that just require a certain angle to be held, and then you will get dazzling colors. But you never know what and when it's going to happen. Now, this one I had kept myself. So there's something really, really dynamic in here somewhere. And I'm going to leave it to whomever to find it. And that's the fun part. That's the fun part. See, there's your clue right there. And you see how it goes down that long, it looks like actually a water inclusion, doesn't it, in there? So therefore, the diffraction of light between different mediums, the hardness of the quartz, and then the potential water there, and boom, you are going to get diffraction grading of colors. So, okay, anyway, I could spin that all day long. It's one of those addictive kind of things. So here we go. How about this sphere with the base for only $12. $12. And wow, that is certainly a sale price there. Let me see. We have only time for one more item, and so let's make it a goodie. Oh, that's a goodie. Oh, so sad. But let's look at this one. Item number 113-5423. Let me see. I don't know if I even showed everything I had, but no worries. There's always another day. Look at this. I can't believe I still have this one. So speaking of quartz, see, we're tying one in with the other. We've got, some kind of theme going on. Look at that. That is true tangerine quartz. And what it really is a coating of hematite. So in person, you're going to see this as really, oh, that's really getting close to the color. Really bright orange. Yeah. Look at that. And then on the surface of these, oftentimes you'll get an iridescence as well. Wow, I'm not sure which way to turn that. That is striking. It's one of the nicest, and it was our own collection of tangerine quartz. Look at those crystals along there, and just a beautiful representation of it. And so, sale pricing it. Yep, sale pricing it. But only can go so low before that baby goes back on our shelf, for certain. And how about this? Let's make it only $38. $38. That's the last item of the show. I'll be back with the trivia. Okay. It's amazing how fast today's show went by for me. And we started, it should feel a little longer to y'all because we started a little bit earlier than we normally did. And we showed through all the items. I did have to take a little more time on those amazing specimens. I see them before me. They're so beautiful. Please take advantage of them. In the end, you're doing me a favor. Obviously, I need the money for obvious things like glasses so that I can tell the difference between a 6 and an 8. And couple of teeth would be nice, but don't feel good about. I mean, I want you not to feel bad about getting these pieces, even though you may hear some of the heartache in me. But that's the love and the passion I have for them, and truly, the collection we have needed to be pared down just a wee little bit, okay? And when I think that, I never was one good about saving money, but I was one really good about saving rocks and minerals. So that's something I could do. And so pretty much this is like, I guess, taking money out of my savings. 7 years, never gone to a single rock show. Now, I keep up with the industry. I read my magazines and stuff, and I just know what's going on at every level, because of the prospecting, because of the connections I have. So I keep up with it. Again, the temptation is so great that if I went to a show, I would just be negotiating for more mineral specimens that I already still have at home. And, again, some of these, I know by the paper I wrapped them in about when I did it. But there's some that, like I said, how I got those estates, and I'd make an offer and get everything, and then maybe not even open them or look at them for years, literally years. Now, I know there's some of them wanting another baculite, and I can't say that I don't have one. I have multiple chests of fossils. And I just haven't done a big fossil thing here. I mean, I've had that amazing fossil back there that no one has requested. But when I've actually shown it, it's just heavy. And so I just don't show it, because then it has to go, everyone has to pick up the heavy items through the process and through inventory. But if you ever request it, let me know, because I'll be happy to sell you something at a fraction of what it would cost brand new in those trilobites. And I have even larger ones, and they're both have, so they're really a neat item. So yeah, I have all these other fossils, and so the R mineral, I would have loved to have offered that, but I made a judgment call. The fluorescence is the strongest and most amazing fluorescence I've ever seen, and the rarity of the crystals still, because when you get meta autunite, that's autunite that has dehydrated. In other words, part of autunite's formula is 10 to 12 molecules of water are attached to this formula, and its molecular weight of autunite, just shy of 49% of its molecular weight is uranium. So part of the problem would be even wanting to look closer at the crystals. It's not something you'd even want to hold up to your eye. It is something that would be stunning in a fluorescent display case. But just know that I'm looking out after all of you, and they wouldn't have been inexpensive, but they would have been about a fifth of what the market value on them is worth. Because I already had them priced. I've got them boxed. I've got an aluminum foil wrap, everything. And then that conversation with Raven this morning was really important. And why I love it that she is in the business too, and all this years, because she has a very important input on, and she's been here at Gem Shopping for forever, and so she just knows the Gem Shopping family, and something like that. If it was just me being exposed to it, fine, but it's not. It's putting everybody else until it gets to the end member, including the little driver the vehicle to deliver it to you. that's the kind of care that goes into what we do here. And it's not only represented here at this level, it's represented at the quality control level on all the fine jewelry that you see and buy also. So we've got, a lot of people that care about all of you, because without all of you, we wouldn't be here. Now, would I want one of you to get in on one of those? Yes. It would be amazing, because you would be amazed to have it. But again, it's one of those, personal responsibility things. And I wouldn't want anything to go wrong on your end. So, but let's see. I was thinking if I had any trivia questions that doesn't keep me from asking trivia questions about it. No. All right. You ready for the trivia questions? Let's see. Question number 1. There's so much more. I'm looking at these specimens in front of me, and I just have all this information gushing out that from the red clown mountain, wolfenite to that. So anyway, ready? What mineral is generally needed to end up with gem silica colored by copper ions? So what mineral is the one that is generally required, and really the most commonly found one associated with gem silica, that lends its copper ions to the chalcedony to turn it blue or green or in between? What mineral is that? Question number 2. Is Manganoan calcite idiochromatic or allochromatic? So let me just rephrase that, adding a important word and a little additional information. So Manganoan calcite can actually be Manganoan calcite and it not have a pinkish tint or color to it. It's not always that case, but the majority of times it is. So let me reword that, adding the word pink. So is pink Manganoan calcite idiochromatic or allochromatic? Now, I only not long ago had a trivia question, and it had to do with the word allochromatic. So you can go back and use your notes. You can even go back and watch past shows. But once you get to the trivia question, then you can rewatch the show only prior to getting to the question. So is Manganoan calcite, pink Manganoan calcite, idiochromatic or allochromatic? All right. Question number 3. Yep, I'm adding another one to you. Oh yeah. Yeah, when I'm giving away the different good stuff, you gotta earn it. Number 3. Name one or both metals, as in, metal with a T. Name one or both metals that make up wolfenite. Okay, so, I'm looking at this. I just can't help it. Oh, and look at how I packaged it with, I got this shredded paper, and I even reused the, have inventory save the plastic bags, and I reuse all the plastic bags. I can't stand to see those Ziplocs. And when they get too worn out, take them home and use them for my food, except not to get the ones with the R minerals in them, or, real gar or orpiment, and then use a Ziploc for food. Better not do that. So anyway, last question was, name one or both metals that make up wolfenite. So I told you that wolfenite is has made up of 2 different metals, and I'm only asking for one. If you could name both, all the better. Again, no No looking up anywhere else. And that's it. So I hope you're having a great summer. For here in the South, it's hot. It's already steamy. And we need to get my air conditioner fixed at the house. And so lots of things I need money for. So I am opening my savings account up to all of you to donate, and you get a rock in return for that donation. Each rock has a specified amount to donate. You saw it today. Okay. Love y'all. Thank you so much for, again, supporting the show and all of our craziness. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you're back next Monday for more. I love the way Uriel is getting the show posted up just boom, boom, right on time or early. That's great. We've got a good, steady system going, and I appreciate all of you. So like and subscribe. Gem Collectors with Shawn. I'm going to see you back next Monday, and I can't wait because the only thing better would be having all of you in front of me and seeing your reactions of your eyes when I put another amazing specimen in front of you, and I want to hear the ooh, ah, and smiles on your face, and then the magic word sold. Thank you. See you Monday. Cheers.